Okay, so I've had a lot of comments on the last post I made, just into a reference of what I'm actually talking about. So I'll get into that a little bit, and I'm in the pickup line to get my kid, so it'll save me some time and boredom. All right. So what I know and what I've heard and just what I've seen is that the GOV is trying to say that birthright citizenships of Native Americans isn't a real thing. That we were not here, and so it's not all right just to be a citizen of America because, pause, now I'm hearing because we actually came from Siberia and we weren't always here. So that's what I'm getting at, is that there's a lot of different places I've heard, and right now up north people's reservations are getting split in half and some are being sent to Canada. How is that possible? I don't really know. Also, I'm from Oklahoma. My tribe's here, you know. If they give me the option of deporting me and tell me, you pick where you want to go, I'll just do that, because this is all I've ever known. This is all my family's ever known. This is where we're from. So I'm just giving the backstory of what that was about. The Siberia thing, I don't know. I'm just reading comments, and this is what everyone's saying is, we weren't from here. We're not the first ones here. Okay, I wasn't here years and years and years ago, so I can't really tell you, but from, I don't know, just history in itself, I don't know where the hell we're all going to go. There's reservations all over this country. There's a lot of Native Americans everywhere. So if you're going to kick us all out, I don't know. And then I heard someone saying, well, don't go to Europe. If you get deported, don't go to Europe or something, because I don't even care to go to Europe. Shit, I'd go to, I don't know, somewhere fun. But anyways, that's what the backstory is on all of this. I don't really have a firm understanding of whatever it is. I don't even like politics. They just cracked me up because they said I was going to get deported to Siberia, and that's hysterical to me. But so be it. I mean, turn up in Siberia, I guess. All my natives are just going to meet me there. We're going to have a big old party in 49, That's probably what we're going to do. But anyways, I hope that helps on some of the comments and confusion, because I'm just as confused. Shit, I don't know. But let me go get my kid, and I'll talk to y'all later. Hopefully figure this craziness out of what's going on in our country. But till then, see you next time.
Dear Native Americans, I am your very, very distant relative from Siberia. Because about 20,000 years ago, few Siberian tribes migrated through Bering Strait right to Americas, both continents. And as you can see, studies have proved that we do share specific genetic markers like Y chromosome haplogroups Q and mtDNA haplogroups like X that are found in both Siberian population and Native American groups. This is a photo of the Buryat Siberian tribe. And this photo is from one of the Native American tribes. And as you can see, we actually do look quite similar. Not only that, we do share some cultural similarities. This is a shaman from Siberian tribe. And this one is a chief of one of the tribes in Native America. I'm not sure that this is a shaman. I'm pretty sure it's a warrior, but the outfits look similar. So after the last video about Siberian people, I just decided to make one about Buryat people. As of 2021, the population is considered to be about 600,000 to 700,000 people, according to different sources. Majority of them live in Buryat Republic in Russia, Irkutsk region, and Zabaikalsky region. We lived a nomadic lifestyle for hundreds and hundreds of years. As most of the nomads, we lived in yurtas, and we still do have them around, but mostly for touristic reasons. Another fun fact is that majority of Asians are lactose intolerant, but we are not. Milk and dairy products still do take quite a huge space in our diet. We also do celebrate our own Lunar New Year, which is a bit different from Chinese or Korean Lunar New Year.
Could Central Asians and the indigenous peoples be related to each other?
Just hear me out. It wouldn't be so far-fetched because both groups of people originally hailed from Siberia.
Central Asians just migrated east while the indigenous peoples migrated west to the Americas. The Turkic peoples of Central Asia are especially similar. For example, when comparing the Siberian Yakuts to the indigenous peoples,
I see a lot of similarities in language, cultural clothing and jewelry, and even musical instruments. However, with other Central Asians, there is a big difference due to third-party cultural influence. But seeing how similar the teepee and the yurt are, how the tribes exist with both people's cultures, specifically Turkmen culture, how the indigenous peoples believe in spirituality, very similar to shamanistic practices in early Turkic history, I tend to believe otherwise. I think we're actually really similar with roots that are closely tied.
This is the Republic of Sakha, also known as Yakutia. Its vast area constitutes 20% of the total territory of Russia and is equivalent to the combined size of 10 Italys, or even the entire country of India. However, in contrast to India's massive population of over 1.5 billion people, Yakutia has a mere population of less than 1 million individuals. Among them, the Yukagirs number 1800s, Dolgans 9000s, Evenks 80,000s, and finally the Sakha people, who constitute the largest group with 500,000 members. Despite the relatively small numbers, all the different ethnic groups inhabiting Yakutia possess unique and remarkable national identities.
Did you know that some Native American languages are related to languages in the Old World? Even though these languages have been separated for about 10,000 years and haven't been written down until relatively recently, linguists have been able to reconstruct this connection. Navajo-related languages in North America are related to Siberian languages like the Yeniseian language family. This is one of the first linguistic connections between the Old World and the New World that a lot of linguists have been on board with. There's just so many similarities between these languages that it's easy to see how at one point this was one language and some people went to North America and some people stayed in Siberia. There's even more recent genetic evidence to support this.
Como Umka, como Чукотка, Vidgaurakan Чукотка, como Kamituarkan, Raeuf, Kamituarkan, Memel, and Rirke, and Korang,
Matoku Yapi. Pentote chante washte na peche user pie. Don't go to kai wakia na pejaka makia pie. Took it ya. Shicha. What's got? Mia? Ushni. Mi wamatuka ushni washte watakashni.
country of the world that we will pray for the rest of our lives. And so I picked Mongolia. I'm Native American. A lot of folk may not know that we descend from Mongolians who came across the land bridge between Russia and Alaska. And I thought, well, I'm going to pray for Mongolia.
I don't care what preacher, I don't care what medicine man, shaman, we're humans. And the best teacher to wake you up is Mother Earth. The best teacher is the water, the trees, the wind. It's as simple as going to a river, an ocean, and putting your hands in there. It's as simple as that. And then those who are in a forest like this is actually touching a mother tree. And what happens inside you, it triggers. It triggers the spiritual awakening that has been covered, has been fought to be taken out of you. Because once you turn up the volume, and from what colonization has done, then you hear, and you hear the spirits. Don't forget that, because it was everywhere, not just here among Native people. It was everywhere.
We express ourselves to connect with nature, and a lot of landscapes, a lot of beautiful expression of the nature goes through our body and becomes as a sound, and we share it with nature. So it's a full circulation. It helps you to fall into trance when you call your spirit animals. Saka culture is very rich, and the basic belief is shamanism. Shamanism is actually even not a belief or religion. It's a style of life. As a phenomenon, it was born when the first men in this planet Earth realized that everything is interconnected. Human being, nature, and the entire cosmos. So one of the major singing technique in my culture is kalahach, and that connects our three worlds in a body. Lower, which is related to fear, kuttal; middle world, which is taptal, related to love; and upper world, which is gratitude, mahtal. And all of these three worlds remain in balance through singing kalahach. And kalahach, it's like a yodel. There's a fundamental sound as coming from voice, like a chest sound, right? Like, and on top of that, I add this yodel-ish sound that comes actually from diaphragm. So it has some, almost like a beat while you're singing. believe that in our hair we store wisdom of our ancestors. So I really, really wanted to connect with the ancestors of that banyan tree, with my ancestors. And I started to sing, and I felt that an intimate connection with nature.
When I was a young boy, I'd ask my elders about why is it we have long hair as indigenous men. And they told me, they say, grandson, when you get up in the morning and you get your hair ready, they said you can't do so when you're in a rush. You cannot do so when you're angry. You cannot do so when you're frustrated. You brush your hair too fast, you might break it. If you don't take care of it at all, you will spend the rest of your day wiping it from your face as it reminds you. As a man, as an indigenous man, the greatest gift that you need to have is patience, is love, is compassion, and is gentleness with how you treat yourself. And in turn, it will transfer into how you treat others. It is an extension of your spirit, of your senses. As you walk this road of life, you will feel the changing winds, and you will never lose your way. You cannot cut this off, and you cannot numb yourself to this. When you braid your hair, the 3 strands that you use will represent the 7 generations that are to come, the 7 generations that you are, and the 7 generations that came before. And only when you tie all 3 together will you be able to be strong. Will you be able to be beautiful? Will you be able to be practical and balanced as you walk this everyday walk of life? Remember this, and know that your hair is the greatest gift that the Creator could have ever given you.
Everybody, I want you to pair up on this slide. And who's Native American? Just pair up with someone sitting next to you. It's not a trick question, by the way. Only one. What'd you say?
I said B.
B? You said B? What'd you say? C? Yeah? Did you say B? C? You said C? Damn, dude.
I can't really see A that well, but I guess from the other ones, I'd say B.
You'd say B? Okay, well, the answer is A, by the way. The others, did anybody say A? All right, good. So the others are Siberian, so we're going to come to this. All right, let's do the next one. Which one's of Native American ancestry and which one is of Han Chinese ancestry? And the Han ethnic group is the dominant ethnic group in China.
I'm going to say that the one on the right is the Han Chinese ancestry, but I'm not too sure.
The one on the right is Han? What do you say, bro? What did you come to?
Left Native American.
Left Native American?
Right.
Is that what you say? The right is Chinese? Yeah? What's that? The top one is Native American? Okay, so listen. Yeah, it's a real subtle difference, right? Is that what you said?
The top one is Chinese.
Top one is Chinese?
Yes.
Dude, killing it. All right, but you're wrong. The top one is Native American. So, all right, go to the next slide. Okay. Asian or European? European or American, bro?
European.
European?
Yeah.
Dude, European or American?
American?
European?
You mean Asian?
I mean, European or Asian?
Asian.
Yeah? Dude, what do you got? Come on, man. The two of you got to have it down. What do you say?
I think he's Asian.
You think he's Asian?
I have no idea.
Yeah? Bro.
I think he's European.
Think he's European? Bro, how about you?
It's definitely European.
Yeah? All right, so here's the deal. You ready? Can you go back to the map? Let me show you something. So, no, the map, the one I think it's like slide 3 or something maybe? Yeah, slide 3. Yeah. Okay, so here. Check this out. So here's the map of human migration patterns. So notice how coming out of Asia here and out of China and northern China, so the Mongolia up around here, so people migrate this way, okay? We're getting new evidence, by the way, of the migration pattern that people actually came across the channels. It's quite fascinating. Stuff is changing a lot, but here's the idea. Genes come this way. Well, how do genes change? The people that stop here and the people that go here, they're the same. They're not any different, genetically speaking. As you start to come down this way, you start to see very different things. But indigenous peoples of the Americas, right, look a lot like people in this area of the world. But notice, right, how it comes this way. But so Siberian, and 3 of those slides are from, those photos are people right here, and 1 is people right here. So 1 is American, got it? 1 is Asian / but it's really kind of European because they're Russian, because Mongolia and Siberia is part of Russia, and they're really Siberian. And Russia is a European country, and so you could argue that all those folks are European because they're Russian. Got it? You see how, like, the complexity of this? So, but what are they really? And how are they any different? Their DNA is exactly the same. And then we come down here and we have this Native American woman here from this area who looks a lot like somebody from over here that you couldn't really tell the difference because the genes just followed. So I remember I spent a lot of time, I lived in Ecuador for quite a while. I was doing my doctoral research there, and I would spend time in the mountains. I studied this one particular region. It's a province called Azuay in the south central part of Ecuador. And I was going into communities where they had never seen white people in some of the communities. They were indigenous communities, and it was like, except priests who were of European ancestry, but they never had visitors, right? And this is actually a true story. So I spent a lot of time with priests and nuns and, a whole bunch. Learned a lot about the Catholic Church, that a lot of times Catholics don't want to know a lot of things that you learn from the inside, but it's all good. And I would go into these communities. Now the priests the Catholicism had sort of conquered them, right? And imposed Christianity on them, the indigenous peoples. And they would show all the images of Jesus. And the images of Jesus are of a white guy with long hair and a beard. And I had long hair and I had a beard at the time. And so I imagine the priests for generations and generations have been saying, Jesucristo está viniendo otra vez. So Jesus is coming again. Jesus is coming. He's coming. He's coming. And in comes this guy on a horseback with the priest with long brown hair and a beard, and people going up to the priest and saying, Padrecito, ¿está él? ¿Es él? It's him? Is that him? Is that Jesus? Like, it's really quite a power trip on my part to have people coming down and bowing at my feet and so on. But that's neither here nor there. But I would be in communities sometimes where I really thought I was in Central Asia, like in the middle of China. Because the features, maybe sitting in candlelight or something, and the features of people were exactly the same. I really didn't know. I thought I had been transported. Anyway, the other guy is from Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan is right here. The guy, is he Asian or is he European? And he is Kazakh. So if you know, is anybody Kazakh in here by chance? Anybody? A couple semesters ago, I had someone who is Kazakh. So he is both European and Asian in a way, but he's really European. Kazakhstan is considered to be a European country, so he's European, but he looks Asian.
PSA, people from this part of Russia are not white. Too long have I seen people completely erase the existence of North Asians, saying stuff like, oh, not everyone from Asia is Asian because Russia's in Asia. Correction, Russia colonized North Asia, but the indigenous people of North Asia are very much Asian. North Asia is home to thousands of different ethnic groups with their own languages, cultures, and histories. Yet just like West and Central Asians, they're never included in any Asian organizations. Or if they rarely are, they're homogenized. Even though North Asians face extremely high rates of racial discrimination in Russia and around the world. So we need to stop acting like Russia didn't colonize North Asia and start talking about the indigenous people of North Asia.
No, I know a lot of people don't speak upon this. I'm just gonna say it. Native Americans came from Asia.
Incorrect. But are we really surprised? I mean, everybody's trying to be Native American nowadays. So let me educate you. The ancestors of Native Americans originated with the Asian populations. However, they diverged from the Asian population at least 25,000 years ago, per DNA evidence. And then, those populations migrated further out of Siberia onto Beringia, and they lived in this whole area for right about 12,500 years. Before officially entering North America, because there was some icy ice in the way. And that was just the first migration that went all the way down North America, all the way down South America to the very tip. And how dare you group all Native Americans together? But then one day we were draining some wetlands in Florida, which we do and we shouldn't, and we found all these bog burials. And we thought it was the Clovis culture, which had been there. They evolved from what we were just talking about. And they just thought it was the Clovis culture until they started excavating it, and they started finding artifacts. And then one day, somebody was looking at these artifacts, particularly the stone blades, and they were like, wait, I don't think this rock exists here. Where is it from? So he got his geology friend, and his geology friend said, oh, there's only two places on Earth where you can access that rock, Spain and France. Oh my God, are you saying that mariners for Europe were America's first inhabitants? It cannot be true. Hold your horses, Karen. White people didn't exist yet. Psst, ooh, burn, you lost. And so the combination of these people and these people, but that particular mixture seems to stay more in North America. And this is why Native Americans up north look more like this, and down South America look more like this. And that is why you should educate yourself before spouting such rubbish on the internet. Native Americans, no matter which type, were literally made here. Have a good day. Resources!
Don't speak upon this. I'm just gonna say it. Native Americans came from Asia.
That doesn't make them Asian.
Definitely not picking on this commenter, because there have been a lot of comments like this on that video, but this is the one that came across my box when I was ready to respond. So, ancestry and DNA do not determine race. Race is a social construct that depends on more than genetics and phenotype. It has to do with culture and history and so on. So even if it is true that Native Americans came from Asia at some point, however many tens of thousands of years ago or longer, that doesn't make them Asian. And what I also find interesting is a lot of people in the comment section are saying, well, race is a social construct and it doesn't matter because we're all connected and all humans are the same. And what I find interesting about that is that people are willing to say that race doesn't matter where it comes to a group of people facing cultural erasure and ongoing genocide, knowing full well that race does matter and that we don't treat each other as connected and the same. It'd be nice if we did. If we did, we would be respecting the sovereignty of Native Americans, but we don't. So even if I take race out of it, the bottom line is that we need to respect the cultural identities of people. And this is like, and it's really important where that message is like coming from an East Asian, because what we're seeing in America is that the East Asian narrative of Asian American culture on the whole is dominant, and that's leading to the erasure of South Asians and Southeast Asians. So yeah, like, the bottom line is we need to respect the cultural identities that people have. and especially where it comes to a group of people who are facing cultural erasure and ongoing genocide.
Do you know what the difference between race and ethnicity is? It's okay if you don't. That's sort of why I'm here. I like to explain things. And sometimes those explanations are successful. To put it simply, race is a system that was created back in the days when much of the world was being divided up into different colonies and Europeans were being exposed to these new, different looking people. This system was essentially developed to categorize and rank human differences. These differences are mostly to do with physical appearance, skin tone, hair texture, skeletal structure. But at the same time, these differences are mostly limited to physical appearance and aren't taking into consideration biological similarities or differences. To simplify this, the idea of race divides humanity based on their physical appearance. I guess it's also important to note that it also implies that the white or Caucasian race is the default, and every other race, the differences between them, it's all in proximity to the Caucasian. This part surprises a lot of people. The idea of race isn't consistent worldwide, nor has it been consistent throughout time. A good example of this are the East Africans. Today, perhaps if you're in America, you'd know that the East African populations are considered part of the Black or African race. But there were points in history where Europeans classified them as a subgroup of Caucasian. Ethnicity, on the other hand, is completely different. It's a group of people that share language, culture, and usually, but not always, descent, a common place of descent. Now, personally, I believe that the strongest aspect of ethnicity is language. I think this made sense.